Hello everyone, so welcome. Here we're going to get our hands dirty by solving some slightly difficult problem in trigonometry. So we will learn about the addition and subtraction formulas, the sum to product formulas. So today we're going to see how we can apply it to try to solve this problem here. It says we should prove that cosecant of 180 degree over 7 equals cosecant of 360 degree over 7 plus cosecant of 540 degree over 7. And you're not going to use calculator, obviously. You're going to try to do it analytically. Now, it's obvious that to solve this problem, we are going to try to see if we can find a relationship between these angles, first of all. So, 180 degree over 7, how does it relate to 360 over 7? And how does it relate to 540 degrees over 7? So, it turns out that 180 degree, 360 is just 180 times 2, and 540 is 180 times 3, because 180 multiplied by 3, this is 0, this is 3 times 8 is going to be 24. So you have a 4, 2, 3, so 540. So you see that if alpha, so if you let alpha to equals to 180 degrees over 7, this identity becomes cosecant of alpha is equals to cosecant of 2 alpha plus cosecant of 3 alpha, because if alpha is 180 degree over 7, then 2 alpha is 360 degree over 7, and 3 alpha is 540 over 7. So you see that we're actually making progress here, because this is better than this form. At least this one we can do something. And also we can also now try to put cosecant in terms of 1 over sine. So we have that 1 over sine alpha is equals to 1 over sine 2 alpha plus 1 over sine 3 alpha. And we can do something again. We can write this as 1 over sine alpha is equals to sine 3 alpha plus sine 2 alpha all divided by sine 2 alpha sine 3 alpha. So this problem can be reduced to something like this: sine 3 alpha sine 2 alpha, right? Sine 2 alpha plus sine 3 alpha is equals to sine alpha. Then you have sine 2 alpha. So you have sine 2 alpha here. Then you have sine 3 alpha. Hope I'm not mistaken. Okay, no, this multiplies this and then this multiplies this. So I got it all wrong. Hold on. So what we are supposed to have is that this is supposed to multiply this. So you are supposed to have sine 2 alpha and then sine 3 alpha to equal. So it's supposed to equal this multiplying this. So it equals sine alpha. Then you have sine 3 alpha plus sine 2 alpha. Now everything is fine. Now we need to prove that this is equal to this. Now this is not so easy to accomplish, because first of all you're going to try to see how do you connect the angles together. And here, look at, you have 2 alpha and you have 3 alpha. Even if you try to use the sum, you have to convert the sum here to the product here. So that is like our goal, because you are trying to connect this to equal this, and this is a product while this is a sum. So you'll be happy to convert this sum into a product and to get them equal. But the problem here is that you have to understand that even if you try to, like, when you're solving math problems, you don't just like solve because you can solve. You can just think and see, if you try to convert this into a product, is it going to work? And it's not going to work for a very specific reason, because this 2 alpha and 3 this 3 alpha and this 2 alpha, they add up to 5 alpha, and there's no 5 alpha on the left hand side. Because if you are going to convert this sum into a product, at some point you're going to do sine a plus b or sine a minus b, if you are going to ever even try to convert into a product. And if you notice, 3 alpha plus 2 alpha is going to equal 5 alpha, and this does not equal, there's no 5 alpha here. And even if you're going to do the sine of sine of c plus d over 2. 5 alpha over 2 is a fraction, so it's not going to equal what is on the left hand side. So what I'm going to do is that, how do you handle this now? And it's simple. You're going to go back to your, when you let alpha to be 180 over 7, that means 3 alpha. So that means 7 alpha. So that means 7 alpha here equals 180 degrees. So you see, now we could write this as, so we have a 3 alpha here. So that means 3 alpha plus 4 alpha equals to 180 degrees. So equals 180 degrees. And notice that since 3 alpha plus 4 alpha equals to 180 degrees, that means, this means that sine 3 alpha is equals to cos, not cos, is equals to sine 4 alpha. So since these two angles add up to 180 degrees, that means sine A is equal to sine B. So sine 3 alpha equals to sine 4 alpha. That means we could come back here. So this is our equation here, that we have sine alpha, sine 3 alpha cos alpha. This is this is going to equal sine alpha. Then you now have sine 4 alpha plus sine 2 alpha. So that, notice that if we try to convert this part into a product, it becomes easy, because sine 4 alpha, at some point when you do a plus b over c plus d over 2, you will do 4 alpha, 2 alpha, which is 6 alpha over 2, you get 3 alpha. And when you do c minus d over 2, you do 4 alpha minus 2 alpha divided by 2, you get just alpha. So you see that if we try to convert this sum here into this product here, it will be better for us. So even though they are the same, this is very easier to solve than this, considering what we are doing. So what we're going to do is that we're going to try to, let's get space. So now, so we want to show that sine 2 alpha, sine 3 alpha is equal to sine alpha, sine 4 alpha, sine 2 alpha. Well, this sine 2 alpha, sine 3 alpha is just 2 sine alpha cos alpha, and then you have sine 3 alpha. So the sine alpha cancel out, because sine alpha is not 0. Like, for example, sine of 180 degree over 7 does not equal 0. So we can divide both sides by sine alpha, and we will have 2 cosine of alpha, sine of 3 alpha is equals to sine of 4 alpha plus sine of 2 alpha. And we can come with sine of 4 alpha, sine of 2 alpha. Notice here that hold on, let's see. Okay, let's say that we know that sine of let's use 3 alpha. Sine of 3 alpha plus alpha is sine of 3 alpha cosine of alpha plus sine of alpha cosine of 3 alpha. So plus okay, no space here. Let's see. So that is sine of 3 alpha plus alpha is sine of 3 alpha cosine of alpha minus plus sine of alpha cosine of 3 alpha, and also sine of 3 alpha minus alpha would be equals to sine of 3 alpha cosine of alpha minus sine of alpha cosine of 3 alpha. Now when you add these two equations together, you will get sine of 4 alpha plus sine of 2 alpha. So this cancel out. That would equal sine of 3 alpha cosine of alpha. So we have proved that, okay, that's two of this, twice of this, because I'm adding them together. So these two are equal. So we have proved that twice of cosine of alpha sine of 3 alpha is equals to sine of 4 alpha, sine of 2 alpha. So that since you have proved that this is true, that means this identity is true. That is cosecant of 180 degree over 7. What is on the left hand side here is equals to what is on the right hand side here. And this completes the proof. So thank you for watching, and please do subscribe to the channel. Bye.